Hi, I'm Sue from the blog Stories of an Unschooling Family. This is the second video that I'm making in an Unschooling Basics series, and today I want to talk about does unschooling work? I guess this is the question that a lot of people will be asking if they're investigating unschooling. It's sensible to do a bit of research. I guess people would want to know how unschooling children turn out. Do they gain the skills that will let them do what they like with their lives? I guess the biggest question is, for a lot of people, will they get good grades? Will they be able to go on to university and compete with school leavers and other homeschoolers, especially the school homeschoolers who have a more structured and thorough curriculum? Do unschoolers, are they able to do what they would like to do? Are they well educated? So I guess that's what work means to most people when I say, does unschooling work? We don't tend to think in our family about grades as such. That's not why we're unschooling. It's not so our children will get good grades and go to university. I think that it's more to do with encouraging our children to be the people that they are meant to be. We're all different. Our children are all different, have different skills, different talents. They have different missions in life. And that's what we're hoping that unschooling will bring out in them. They'll give them be able to develop as people with those skills and go on and do whatever they feel is their mission in life, which is not necessarily good grades. It's not necessarily getting into university. But, I mean, those are concerns people have. Are unschoolers able to go to university? I think yes, they are. If an unschooler wants to go to university, he or she will get there. I have 4 young adults and they've all studied at university level with no problems whatsoever. I still have 2 children who are at university. Duncan's doing a master's degree. Imogen's doing a Bachelor of Arts in professional writing and publishing, and she's doing very well. So how did they get into university? I think that with unschoolers it's to do with their passions. They are able to follow their passions. When they get to university level, they're not thinking about going. Well, my children have them wanted to go on and study their passions at a higher level. Following their passions, is that enough for unschoolers to go on and succeed in life? What about all the basics? I mean, there's so many different curriculums that people are following, and everybody has a different idea of what is essential knowledge that we impart to our children. How do we know that our children will be able to be successful just by following their interests and their passions? Well, I think of the John Holt quote, and I'm not sure of the exact words because I'm not very good at quoting quotes. I'm not very good at memorization. But anyway, it's the one that goes something like this. How do we know what the world will be like when our children are grown up, when they turn roughly 18 and they step out into the world on their own? How do we know what that world's going to be like? The world is changing so fast. That the world we have today, in another 10 years, it'll be very different. We can't start preparing for that world now. But what we can do is give our children a love of learning. We teach them how to learn so that whenever a need arises, when they know they don't know something that they need, they'll know how to go about learning it. They'll have the enthusiasm for chasing that knowledge, and it won't be a disadvantage. So that's a love of learning. I think that's one of the things that unschoolers have, a real strong love of learning, and that's really what I've always wanted for my children right from the beginning. Before my eldest daughter turned 18, I had this goal. I really wanted to bring her up perfectly and to give her the best education I could. a perfect education, so that when she did turn 18, that she'd set out into the world perfectly prepared. She'd make no mistakes whatsoever. She'd be able to step into the career of her choice and do exceedingly well and have a successful life. And maybe that, I don't know if anybody else, any other mothers ever feel this way. I guess it's a very unrealistic expectation. I've since changed my mind about that. I know that it's impossible to perfectly bring up a child and give them a perfect education. And I think, well, why did I think that I could do it? A child at 18 has their whole life stretched ahead of them. They're going to do an awful lot of more growing and changing and developing and experimenting, making mistakes in their lives. It's they've got those lives stretched ahead of them, and turning 18 or graduating, I guess, from homeschooling, being set out into the world is only really the beginning. Yes, we can't bring up our children perfectly. So in a way, I think this takes the pressure off us as parents. I think we do feel that that's very important to do our best. This is why we spend so much time worrying about what we're doing with our children, looking for the best way of parenting them and educating them. And but I don't think any method of education or parenting is going to be perfect, but just finding one that will help our children develop to be the people they want. And that's where I feel unschooling comes in. And that love of learning again, making mistakes to go on to be an adult. They're going to be learning unschoolers for the rest of their lives. They're going to come across situations that they're going to have to learn. They're going to make mistakes, have failures, pick themselves back up. They need the confidence to keep on going, the trust that they're going to get there. And I think that's what unschooling will give them. I'm an unschooler. I mean, I wasn't as a child. I went to school. I'm very glad that we discovered unschooling and that I had this opportunity for a second go at my education. And yes, I'm learning all sorts of things, and yeah, it's a very exciting way of life. I don't think that as a way of life, it's not just education. It's well, it was when I started out. I didn't really understand too much about what unschooling was, the principles, but over the years, as we've been unschooling and we've got deeper and deeper into the understanding of what unschooling is, I realize that it affects all aspects of our lives. It spills over into our parenting, into our everyday life, apart from the educational hours, say from 9 till 3, we're unschoolers all the time. And that's very exciting. It's a lovely way of life. We're talking about making mistakes. Yes, our children won't be perfect. They'll come across problems, but I hope that they'll come back. I know my children already do. They come back and they talk to me if they need help, if they need some suggestions, if they just need a listening ear. We have a very good relationship as a family. We have very little conflict. A bad day here or there, but I think that's for everybody has that when everybody gets overtired. But yes, generally life is very peaceful, and I'm not saying that other people who don't unschool don't have close relationships with their children and lack of conflict in their lives, but for us, unschooling has brought that. That's been our way to a peaceful family, a gentle family that cares very much about each other, a close family. Yes, as I said, we're not unique. There's lots of other families that I feel are like this, but I feel that the unschooling has done enormous things for us. That's what has brought us to this way of life. Well, just a few ideas about the topic, does unschooling work? Again, I know that I've only just touched on the subject, and I could sit here for an awful long more time and ramble on a bit more, and I'm sure I've gone over time again, so I might stop there. But I guess this is not a professional series. It's just a bit me sitting here chatting, and that is all right, I think.